All right, time to get this going with better audio. Now we're off the screenshot with me in the tiny little rectangle and the garbled microphone. This video is in defense of proper debate, proper discussion, meaning listening to the other person, understanding the point, and fundamentally trying to get to the truth of the matter together. Here are the positions that Jordan Peterson had put out there for people to come up and debate with him. Number one was, and this is verbatim, atheists reject God, but they don't understand what they are rejecting. Any kind of valid debate would first have a person come up and state what they believe the notion of God to be. If you're taking a position where you're saying, I don't believe God exists, it's like, well, what does God mean to you? Say what it means to you. If you don't believe it exists, as you say it, the way you understand it, it should become self-evident to anybody why you don't believe it. So, for example, I don't believe that there is a man who sits on a cloud with a white beard that micromanages everything. If that's the notion of God, as soon as I say it to you like that, you go, okay, this guy is making a mockery of it, he doesn't believe it. In order to say, I reject this idea, I have to first at least be able to articulate what the idea is. So there's a group of 20 people invited to debate this with Jordan Peterson. Whoever gets to the chair first gets to sit down and say their piece until they get voted out. People feel like they're not making a good point, whatever, some red flags go up, the guy gets thrown out, the girl gets thrown out, whatever it is. But it was a very simple point. Atheists reject God, but they don't understand what they are rejecting. This is not to say, on his behalf, I believe in God, I'm a Christian, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other thing. It's just a point to put up there, and if you want to disprove this point, come and sit in the chair, say what you believe God to be, because these are all proposed atheists. He's not a proposed Christian. He tries to behave as though God exists, right? And they do ask him to define God, and he defines it as conscience. So he's fulfilled his end. Now, on the end of the atheists, it's a very simple thing. You're an atheist, you don't believe in this? Okay, say what it is, the way you understand it, and then tell me why you don't believe in it. That's all. Or even just state what it is that you're rejecting. You don't even have to make an excuse or give an explanation of why you don't believe in it. That has not been fulfilled in the entire debate. No one has used their opportunity to even state what they thought God was. So that's point number one. Point number two, morality and purpose can't be found within science. So that's the claim. What I interpret that claim to mean is that science is the how, but it's not particularly the why. So we can say these cells divide like that, and the immune system works like that, and chimpanzees behave this way, and dolphins behave that way, and humans behave that way. These are all observations. These are all things that science will take a look at, lay out, address the commonalities and differences, and then try to extrapolate some sort of reasoning or some sort of story that ties that whole thing together. But it's purportedly based entirely in fact and not in assumption. What Peterson is saying is that the realm of assumption as to the why things work falls squarely in the domain of religion and philosophy. Thus, morality and purpose cannot be found within science. However, you can look at something scientifically and say, hey, look at that. A purpose and morality seems to be emerging out of this. You can discover it there, but the inherent morality and purpose is not found within science. That's what I would say. No one has countered this point even slightly adequately. Moving on, next claim is everybody worships something, including atheists, even though they might not know it. Okay, well, this claim hasn't been debunked either. As a matter of fact, this is where everything erupted into chaos when that guy came and started asking Jordan Peterson all about Mary and went off on a tangent whether or not he went to a Catholic church, started asking him if he was a Christian, and so on and so forth. All he had to do was come up and discuss the topic at hand. Now, does everybody worship something? In a sense, I would say that unless you've already gotten to a level where you are acutely self-aware and you understand the motivations behind each and every one of your actions, probably there's something in your life that we could consider to be an object of worship. And that could be some celebrity, or a superhero, or your own ideas, or your Porsche, if you happen to be one of those guys that has a Porsche and a Patek Philippe, or whatever it is that you see as an object of status and value, something that is worth sacrificing the immediate for in order to reach the achievement of. So if somebody says, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice family life, and I'm going to sacrifice personal time or taking care of myself so I achieve this status, and then once I get that, then everything will come downstream from it, that on some level is an item or an object of worship. But of course, it's always important to define the terms, make sure we know what's meant by an item or an object of worship, and once those terms are agreed to, now it's up to the atheist to come and sit down with Jordan Peterson and explain why that is inherently false. That, again, has not been done, so we're going to consider that a failure to have a proper debate. I don't believe that any of these encounters were a failure on the part of Jordan Peterson to prove that he's a Christian, because that was never the intended purpose of the debate whatsoever. Atheists accept Christian morality but deny the religion's foundational stories. Okay, so somebody could get up there, claim to be an atheist, say, yes, I believe in self-sacrifice, yes, I believe in aiming upwards, so on and so forth, yet I don't believe those stories to be literally true. I don't see any contradiction here, because those stories can be tales to project specific moral values that existed before the telling or the creation of those stories. So I really don't see what the problem with this claim is. Atheists accept Christian morality but deny the religion's foundational stories, because at the same time we are presupposing that they accept Christian morality. But some of the morality in Christendom can have preceded Christendom. So by calling it Christian morality, it's a little bit misleading. What would we say about morality if not Christian morality? Basic morality. Let's try that. Basic morality, meaning that cultures over time have largely agreed, even for self-serving reasons, that particular actions are moral versus others. So we can call that just basic morality, and maybe basic morality presents itself in the Christian tales. So I'm not really sure what needs to be debated here about that. I mean, I don't think that they're denying the principles behind the foundational stories. I think that they're denying the literal occurrence of the foundational stories. Then we have Jordan Peterson's framework for understanding Christianity is probably not the one that the Bible intended. Okay, well, let's say it isn't. Is it relevant? Is it helpful? Is it encouraging people to aim upward through challenging situations? Now, this is not to say that if no one heard of Jordan Peterson's framework for the Bible, they wouldn't be able to find that through some other means. But I think that it's safe to say that Jordan Peterson has distilled a certain portion of the biblical text in a digestible manner for a larger group of people than would otherwise accept it outside of the realms of religious circles. I think that would be a fair statement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and out of those 5 points, I feel like just speaking to the camera, I've had a more productive interaction with those points than this whole mess on Jubilee has even aimed to achieve. Of course, Xena did a very good job, and I feel was acting in good faith to have a conversation with Jordan Peterson, and she wasn't the only one, but obviously she was the one that stood out in that manner. Other than that, I would say that whenever debating anybody, we should stick to the topic at hand and hash that out, because once that's settled, it unlocks the door for further communication and understanding. But if we're going to come under the guise that we're debating A and then start arguing about B, then nothing is going to get anywhere. It's just going to turn into a mess, and then you see what happens as we go downstream. Then podcasts start commenting on it, like what's gone on with this PBD podcast, where they're saying that he missed the mark by not evangelizing to these. It's like this is totally not what it was about. So if you like this video and the other things I got going on this channel, remember, subscribe, notification bell, whatever you got to do. Comment. This is obviously going to be an issue that everybody has things to say about, but keep it respectful. That's my request of you. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.